Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete and lifestyle coach. The Freedom Builder Playbook. Avoid distractions, gain clarity. Without clarity, you'll go down any distraction that comes to you. Think of it as our brain gets between 12 and 60,000 thoughts a day. I hear 35,000 decisions we have to make every day. If you are not clear about your future, you don't have a plan, you don't have a way to eliminate distractions, you'll just spin your wheels in daily life. So let me share with you the 6 areas of mastery. Now, time, location, travel, creative, wealth, those freedoms are important. Everybody's on a journey. Before my stroke 4 years ago, I always had a to-do list that was so long and didn't know how to prioritize it. Wasn't clear about where I was going. So anything, any silver object, any shining object, any rabbit hole, I went down it. I want to help you to gain that clarity. Understand there is a playbook, and I'm going to share it with you. And I'm going to give you a gift to join our freedom community. At any time, you can scan that QR code, and you can join like-minded people who are on the journey of the 6 freedoms. The 6 freedoms are here. Let me make this a little bigger. Let me see how I do this. There we go. Okay. Time freedom, wealth freedom, location, creative, health, and travel. That's what our community is all about. Activating your freedoms. Everybody's on a journey. It never stops. You're always working on this. You're always working on yourself. You're always building the freedom that you want. It's your choice. Time, and we'll talk about this in just a second. I have 3 days in one, 3 5-hour days. Chunk it for focus and clarity. All right, let's begin. All right, hold on. Let me remove this and let me add this. And let's go over here and we'll start. Okay, the Freedom Builders Architectural Playbook, a structural guide to reclaiming your agenda, defeating internal theft, and engineering a life of creation. Creation. We're going to talk about the difference between creation and consumption. We build to secure the 6 freedoms: time, location, wealth. And when we say time, it's control over when. When are you going to do something? Most get burned out because they don't understand. It's not how much can I get done? It's how you do it. Location freedom, I can work from anywhere in the world, anywhere, because my business is not tied to a location. So if you want that, that could be something you're interested in. Wealth freedom, it's not that you have to be a billionaire, millionaire, whatever. You have to control over the resources, meaning this. When you think of wealth, if your overhead, let's say, is $5,000 a month, and you can consistently have the passive reoccurring of 6, you're free. Because you wake up the first of the month and you know 6 is coming in. So you operate with freedom. Freedom to do what you want. Most of us will be controlled by fear. What if I don't make enough this month to pay the rent, to pay the bills, pay the food, to get myself a... So you're using up that energy, what if, instead of what's possible. Travel freedom, the ability to move. I love Jerry Boaz and his wife, Mary Jane. They have travel freedom. They're always going to a place. He loves chasing history. They both love it. chasing history. Now, what does that mean? It means he wants to go experience the freedom to be in a place that he's read about. So he's always looking to bring that freedom of experience. And that, where some of us might say, I don't want the hassles of going through TSA and doing this and flying here and doing that. That's the wrong kind of mindset. If you're saying chasing freedom and you want to be free to see the world, see places that mean something to you, that you're interested in, the freedom, the feeling is incredible. And you can get to, you'll get to meet Jerry. Creative freedom. Express your true self without a mask. Who are you? How can you express yourself? We're going to talk about consumption, because when we're consuming media, which we'll talk about, 4 hours of TV, 2.5 hours of social scrolling, we're consuming other people's lives. Let's think about creating your life. What do you love to do? What just fires you up? What could you create that could create an income around it? Because if you're creating a hobby, that's different than creating a business. A hobby generally means nonprofit. I just want to do it because I love it. But what if your hobby can become your business? What if? And that's what you have to ask yourself. There's a young lady that she's the wife of my Rotary friend, Steve, Christy. She creates experiences as an artist, as a creator. She teaches creativity to her seniors and people that want to explore their creative freedom. So she's teaching creativity. And it's the most popular, when I was at Overture, it was the most popular class that they ever did. And it was every month, because people love to create. They love to create. And if you can get out of the consumption mindset and move yourself into creating, the freedom is just beautiful. Health freedom, vitality, enjoying, and that's really generating energy. Because if you have the energy to work on your other freedoms, when you don't have it, you don't feel like pursuing them. But when you do, when you make your health a priority, when you make it a big rock versus sand, which when you're filling up your day with big rocks and health is a big rock, you're making your health a priority instead of being okay with energy and not having the health that will get you the other freedoms. Because once you lose it, and my friend Crystal Duke, we'll talk about it. Like I was chatting with her the other day. Man, the gym's busy. It's hard getting on the equipment that you want. She said, just give it a couple weeks. It'll thin out. That's because people, they may prioritize it with a New Year's resolution, but do they continue to make it a big rock in their priorities? Are they depending on willpower? And if you're depending on willpower it's a myth. You've got to stack your habits. When I go to the gym, that's when I learn. That's when I meditate. That's when I get my body moving. And I know if I miss it, I miss my learning opportunity, my meditation opportunity. So it doesn't matter when I go during the day. A lot of people, the first thing, get it out of the way, kind of energize yourself for the day. It doesn't matter. I go and I fit it in strategically based on my day. Because when I know that I get up at 3:34, so I get up early. And when make phone calls in the afternoon to energize myself, I'll put a gym visit in that because it energizes me, gets my body moving, works on my meditation, works on my personal growth. All those are stacked in there. Have fun hanging out with like-minded people and knowing how I feel once I get out of there. My ideas are flowing because I'm moving, I'm grooving, and I'm making health a priority. Time freedom. This is a big one. You slow down. Like we'll talk about Tom Brady effect. When you slow down, you actually speed up. I do 3 days in one, and we'll talk more about that in a second. The enemy, internal theft and mass consumption. Remember, we talked about 4 hours of TV. That's the average. American watches 4 hours of TV, whether it's Netflix or regular TV. 4. Scrolling 2.5 hours. So if we look at 6.5 hours of consumption, you're consuming others' lives instead of creating your life. We're born to create. We're not born to consume other people's lives. Create your life. And that internal fear is talking and getting bigger than your faith. It wins. I was just talking to a person, we were talking about faith versus fear. If we let that fear get bigger, we have to get the skills to make it smaller. So when you bump up against a fear, kind of embrace it. That's telling you something. Maybe it's time that I step into it and honor that struggle. But if I let it own me, it's going to be like the example here. It's going to be bigger than my faith muscle. So exercise that faith muscle. Exercise it. Be bold. Do it on a regular basis. Make those big rocks the first rocks you put in that jar. That has to be your driver, because if we look at consumption, that's the small rocks. Nothing wrong with some TV, but look at 4 hours, 6.5 hours a week. If we kind of multiply that out 7 days, let's just say 6 times 7, that's 42. 42 hours of consumption. What could you do with a portion of that devoted to creating? Join our community of freedom builders. Go to the QR code right above and scan it. And join like-minded people who are working on these freedoms, working on themselves, working on time freedom, location freedom, travel freedom, health freedom, wealth freedom, creative freedom. All these freedoms are possible. And it's a journey. We're all at different places in our journey. Okay, let me go. Mortality motivation, the urgency of now. Now, I do have this because 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, it almost ended. But I survived. And I'm thriving. Yeah, I don't play golf as much as I used to, 4 and 5 times a week. I don't run like I used to, 4 or 5 times a week. But I podcast and I journal. So life will throw you some curveballs. And if you can't learn how to hit those, you're going to strike out. And if you strike out, you're out of the game. So keep trying to hit that curveball. Keep trying to build your skills. Build your skills. Work with a sense of urgency. We're only here for a short period of time. And mine almost ended. However, it didn't. So I have that urgency. I approach every single day like it's my last or my last couple. My conversations are deeper. My presence is better. My urgency is get it done now. And when you have that get it done now, that urgency of now, it changes everything. Because when you want to focus on those big rocks, those priorities, those purpose, those presence, being intentional about what you're doing, then everything changes. And you don't have to have a stroke to have mortality motivation. You just have to create a sense of urgency. I'm only here a short period of time. Let me make the biggest impact that I can possibly make now. That's why we talk about lifestyle. That's why we talk about 6 freedoms, because we're working towards the freedom. We don't have it mastered. We never have it mastered. We're always working on ourselves and working on our skills so we can make a bigger impact. But you have that choice. That choice is yours. The 5 habits to thrive. Now, this has been critical. Brendan Bouchard, who wrote High Performance Habits, who certified me as a high performance coach, who is my mentor, who I listen to each day, gave me the clarity, gave me the opportunity for more energy, to more courage, gain more influence. And in this case, we work on your online influence. We call it 7-11-4, or being a key person of influence. If you're a best kept secret, that's not a strategy. The world has to know what you want to do. And if you're not out there sharing it, who knows? There's not too many people can read minds. Maybe that gentleman, mentalist or something, he's pretty good at what he does. Amazing. But he does it because he studies body language. He studies human behavior. So he's a master at it. Did it happen overnight? Absolutely, positively not. He kept working on it. Same with you. Working on the 6 freedoms, working on yourself. The 5 habits to thrive. You got clarity, knowing who you are, where you're going, energy, the stamina to execute, courage, weapon against theft, being bold, being courageous, and working on that each day. Your influence, your ability to move others. If you're not in a position where I always say you'll know you're a leader if you look behind you. And if nobody's there, you're not a leader. And online, we talk about Daniel Priestley's key person of influence, which means people have to get to know you, like you, and trust you online. And when you create that demand for whatever you do, demand drives everything. Without demand, you have a hobby and you have a business that won't be around very long. Always create demand. Always. Demand is leads. Leads is cash flow. Cash flow is a thriving community. Productivity, we're always working on. I do the 3 days in one, 3 5-hour days. 3 5-hour days. I batch my time. Courage is an antidote to avoidance. Confrontation versus avoidance. How many of us, the theft thrives on avoidance? Are you procrastinating on a decision? Avoiding a call? That's avoidance is a signal, which means something's there, something we got to work on, because I'm avoiding making a call to somebody. Something's happening. So honor that. Why? Ask yourself. I journal every day. I self-talk every day. So when I have these conversations and I'm hesitant to call somebody, there's a reason. And so if you identify your demons, the freedom builders lean into the discomfort. The hard conversation is the way thought. I don't know what that means, but hard conversation is needed for you to lean into it. The declaration is, we shall advance with abandonment. We drop the need for perfect conditions. We move with intensity and without a hesitation. That helps us to get bolder. Jeff Bezos said once or twice, probably every meeting, we only need 60% to move forward. Now, I was talking to a gentleman and we talked about knowing all the answers. That's perfectionism. That's the fear of failure, the fear of stepping forward. We don't know all the answers, but we figure it out. But if we don't start, we can't complete. We can't make the impact that's possible. Always think of yourself as, what if it works? Not why, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? You learn and you can move forward. So what if mindset. So this is just the setup. This is mine. I designed this myself. You always think of habits and routines. My morning routine is not to jump into my inbox. Matter of fact, I hardly ever check my email. I probably ought to do a better job at that. But I'm enjoying not doing that what I used to. So I drink. I hydrate. Your brain dehydrates during the night. So you got to put that water back in. Like that. Ooh, that feels good. That tastes good. And then I just sit there and I think. I think of the previous day, what I've got going on, what I'm excited about. Just think. We talk about critical thinking, which has gone down because our attention span's been shortened by these TikTok videos. So we're lacking critical thinking. And if you dive into AI and make sure that's your 100%, you always got to critically think. Before, think, then have the AI do 80% of the heavy lifting details, the boring stuff. Then you finish it off with the last 10%. So you do the 20%, let your AI tool do the 80%. I journal every day because it gives me clarity. Clarity. We have between 12 and 60,000 thoughts that go through our head, making 35,000 decisions. Do I stop? Do I like? Do I comment? Do I respond? What do I wear? All these decisions we're making. And if we don't have a way of getting clear, automating as much as we possibly can so we can think of the important things, we can journal and get that thought on paper. There's a magical thing about writing. Even though we can type 10 times faster, when you write, you wire the brain in a way that promotes creativity, promotes clarity, promotes wiring your brain in the right way, as opposed to consuming TikTok videos. If you're going to be consuming, your brain's going to be mush after a while. And I don't think that's what you want. Read. I read every day. I read every day because, again, reading is rewiring your brain. So to read something, read. I'm always reading in the morning and then I'll read in the evening. I don't do it during the day outside of just, that's my chill time, is reading as opposed to consuming content. And then plan. I implement. I plan. I have growth day. So I put down the things that are the big rocks that I'm going to get done this day. I don't need to do 25 things. I really need to do one and get that most important priority, that rock, done. Get that one done. Then I'll put 5 things down and I try to go in the order. Is it perfect? No, absolutely. There's some days I don't. Some days I still get distracted. But the next day I have an opportunity to restart again. But this is a drink, think, journal, read, and plan. That's my day. That's my setup. That's my morning routine. And when I talked about the time, I take 3 5-hour days, 3 5-hour chunks. Our brain doesn't function fully with multitasking because it takes 15 to 25 minutes to reset. So I focus on 5-hour chunks, blocks of time. So where I'm getting 3 hours, 3 days, 5 hours with each day, most are getting 1. So I get 21 days done in a week, and most are getting 7. So that's how I leverage time. I leverage it because distractions are real. And if you don't recognize those distractions and don't have a system and a process, you're going to fall into the consumption, fall into the reacting instead of creating your life. 3 blocks, 7 days, 21 days of productivity. Batch your time into 3 5-hour blocks per day. Treat each block as a standalone day with a specific focus. This structure protects flow and eliminates fear of gear shifting, going back and forth, checking an email, checking a tab, answering a phone call. My phone is on silent 24/7. Now, I'm sensitive to the noise, but still, don't answer every phone call, because if you're in your flow and you're into that creating mindset, that 5-hour batch. I make phone calls, but it's at the end of the day or sometimes the beginning, but it depends. If that's part of my batching, I may put some things to make connections with these specific people, but that's part of my batching. I don't just I don't play ping pong with my day. I'm focused. And you can too. It's a skill. It's a skill to learn. Material, big rocks versus small rocks. I just did with Jeff Alley, my friend in Rotary. We go over to Kennesaw Mountain High School and we work with Habitudes, which we help our sophomores, 25 of our students. And we were talking to them about the big rocks versus small rocks. Think of the small rocks as consumption. That's what we're comfortable. The big rocks are your purpose, your priorities. Put the big rocks in first, then fill it up with those smaller things. So it's okay. You don't have to not watch TV at all, although it's not bad to focus on other priorities. But get the big rocks done first. Put that in the jar. Then you can fill it up with other stuff versus loading it with sand, then trying to put your rocks in there. Can't get them in because you filled it up with comfort. You filled it up with your sand. Big rocks first, then put your small rocks in. Okay. The myth of multitasking. Think of multitasking as, are you want to be a jumping bean all over the place, switching? Because the switching cost is 15 to 25 minutes loss per interruption. So your brain is better if it's a focus, if it gets in a flow. Stop being a jumping bean, bouncing between open tabs, emails, calls, destroys your cognitive function. The day spent in recovery mode is a day lost. Close the tabs, honor the block. Honor the block. Focus, clarity comes with knowing how the day's going to flow, getting in a flow, getting in that batching of time. It's called Pomodoro, which means what I try to do is 50 minutes of intense work, then take a break, go organize something, change the brain, Just make that, refresh the brain, then jump into another 50 minutes. Doesn't always work like that, but you got to have a framework, a process to be able to get that clarity. And that's what we're talking about, eliminating distractions and gaining clarity. And I'm going to give you a link that if you want to schedule a call, a 15-minute call, well, I'll ask you a few questions and I'll spend some time helping you get clear, coach you on clarity. And it's free, at least today. So lean into clarity, lean into making those changes that help you to be better. We talk about slowing down time. I call this the Tom Brady effect. Now, being from Atlanta, we remember the Super Bowl that slipped through our hands because he took that ball and he picked apart our defense like a hot knife through butter. His game, everything is slowed down. He can see things most don't because he's worked on strategy. He's worked on his habits. He's worked on his process. He's worked on his strategy over and over and over again. He thinks differently than most. That's why he has so many national Super Bowl wins. Your outcome can be like that. Slow down to speed up. Be present. Learn. Avoid the consumption of emails. Avoid the consumption of TV and TikTok videos. And start creating your life. Creating your life, the outcomes can be absolutely beautiful. And when he's speaking or talking or commentating and he's got his 5 or 6 Super Bowl rings, that's a sample of an outcome based on slowing down to speed up. And he's worked on that for years and years and years and years and years. So he's mastered that process. And by mastering it, the outcome is winning. That can be the same for you. One thing that has been very beneficial, celebrate the wins. I write down my 3 wins every day. And I have a gratitude. I do it through Growth Day, but I do it through my planner. So every day, this planner, I have 3 wins. We got to celebrate. Practice every night. Write down 3 victories. This builds momentum and combats the brain's tendency to focus on the gaps. Celebrate your wins. Gratitude is a proactive defense against negativity. There's plenty out there. If you watch TV and watch the news all the time, you're going to think the world is falling apart. And in a lot of cases, it is. And it's happening in pockets across the United States because the process of whatever's happened, policy, fraud, whatever you want to say, and things are just falling apart in those areas. But be grateful. Gratitude is a proactive defense against negativity and it prevents you from becoming reactive and allowing you to repack your bags for the next adventure. My friend Jeff Alley, when he retired, he read the book, Repack Your Bags. And it's just a mindset of, okay, I retired from doing this, GE. Now what's my next chapter going to look like? So he gains connections and meaningful relationships through life and through Rotary. And he keeps working on himself. He does. The minute we stop learning, we stop growing. The average person, and I think it's on my next one now, dies 2 years after retirement because they cut off their connections. They stop living. They stop connecting and having those meaningful relationships. They stop having a purpose and they stop growing. and then we just go downhill. As opposed to continuing your relationships, establishing a new purpose of what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be grandiose. Purpose could be, what do I want to do this day? Having a purpose when you start off the day. And when you do that and you celebrate your wins, the wins behind your sales. So the freedom building code of conduct. We shall meet life with full presence. We shall claim our agenda, prioritize it. We shall defeat the demons of distraction. We shall advance with abandon. I don't know what that means. We shall practice joy and gratitude. Celebrate the wins. We shall not hit breaks. We shall not hit breaks of integrity. Your word is your honor. Work and honor your integrity about how you show up. You will amplify love, shall inspire greatness and slow time down. Okay, let me go back here to, activate your freedoms, join our freedom community. Scan it. Join people that are on the move, people that are celebrating the journey of freedoms: time freedom, wealth freedom, location freedom, creative freedom, health freedom, and travel freedom. It all comes together because we work on ourselves. Personal growth every day. We shower. If you waited and took a shower every month, you'd be stinky and people wouldn't be around you. But that's why we take showers. But we got to take our mental showers every day. That's what growth day is. Let me put this up here for our people that want to grow. Go to pking.me/growth day. Try for 7 days. Try a shower of personal growth, a shower from Brendan Bouchard and the team of people that are making an impact. It's a community of personal growth. Growing makes a difference. We will not grow our business beyond our ability to grow. Grow yourself first, then your business can grow. You can work on that time, that wealth, that location, that health, that creative, and that travel freedom. And it all happens with you growing. Try us for 7 days. Try personal growth. Now, join our school community. Be around people that are leaning into freedoms, leaning into time, wealth, location, creative, health, and travel, are working on themselves. Together, we're better. Together, we're better. Together. Join our community today. Go to pk.me/score. And when you join, we're going to give you a $400 gift. 2 of my best courses: High Performance Habits Mastery and Journaling for Freedom. Because when you start journaling, you start working on your freedoms. And it's magical the way it's worked. Before my stroke, hardly did a journal. And when I did, it wasn't really pleasant. Got 17 journals and counting in the 4 years. Journaling has set me free. Free to have the clarity. Free to be present. Free to live that lifestyle that's possible when you prioritize the right things. All right, let me see. I'll put clarity up here too. Okay, book a clarity session, and I'll put a QR code up here. Yes, I will. Okay, so you can either go to pk.me/clarity, or you can scan QR code. Scan that QR code, book a session. I'll ask you a few questions, and then I'll help you get clear on your big rocks. So be bold, make an impact,